All right, I'm going to start this week off a little bit differently with some trivia. How many parking spaces do we have in San Francisco, on street and off street, paid or free? Is it 241,000, 341,000, 441,000, 641,000, or is it 841,000? Your choice. If you guessed 841,000, you're wrong. It's actually 441,541 spaces. Why possibly does this matter, and do you care? Well, it's the first time in our city's history we've ever done an inventory of parking in our city. This is all part of SF Park, this new congestion management strategy that we'll be advancing in piloted phases later on this year. This is money that came from the urban partnership dollars. That was money that you may recall was set aside, at least a portion of it, for the congestion pricing strategy that New York City was advancing that they no longer are moving forward with. Some of the federal dollars that were going to New York, we were able to pull out here into San Francisco, and we're doing something no other city in the country has done. In fact, we don't know of any other city in the nation that's doing it, and that's converting our parking meters with about a quarter of them with these new congestion meters where we're actually going to have sensors on the street. You can have real-time information brought to you on your laptop or your PDA to determine availability of parking. But the first phase of this was an asset inventory of all the available parking in San Francisco, and that's where we came up with the number. So that's for the what it's worth file, but it all is important as we move forward and look differently at parking and traffic in the city and county of San Francisco. One of the things that is very positive that also happened on that front this week was we got another $20 million grant from the federal government for our central subway. We'll be making some specific announcements. Candidly, we'll be launching and kicking off in the next couple weeks the real progress and momentum on the central subway, which I've talked a lot about in these videos in the past. But again, that $20 million contribution just furthers the federal government's commitment to that project. In addition, we got $15 million for bus rapid transit, particularly down on Van Ness. BRT is the future. It's not just light rail and it's not just subways. It's going to be a focus on bus rapid transit throughout the city. The money, the $15 million, is a big deal for this city. Again, a federal appropriation to move us forward and get us on our way in terms of implementing that strategy and that plan. The big news, though, the biggest news from the federal government was this last week. The president put forward his $3.8 trillion budget. Included in that remarkable budget, large budget, is a commitment on the Jobs Now program, or at least as we've termed it, the Jobs Now program in San Francisco. This is a huge win, a big, big deal. Already 1,750 people now, that's the new number, have jobs subsidized by the federal government that otherwise were unemployed. One of them we met with this week who'd been unemployed 4 years and got a subsidized job through this Jobs Now program, where he's leading the charge with 72 other people to do energy efficiency audits. Someone 4 years out of work and learned about this program is now working with the 71 other colleagues, 72 of them, again, out doing energy efficiency audits and using other federal stimulus dollars, 19.7 million total, about 7.7 that came through the federal stimulus and 11.5 through another program, and organizing not just audits, but organizing low-cost retrofits for people's homes. So it's combining that program with energy efficiency program and organizing them in a way that we're making real progress on our environmental goals. That's why I'm so enthusiastic about the president's commitment, because had we not had that federal subsidy, we wouldn't be doing as many free energy audits, so fewer people would learn about the energy efficiency programs. But this is a commitment that needs to be codified by the Senate and by the House, and so we still have a lot of work to do. But if we can get this program extended, again, it expires September 30th. That means not only the 1,750 people are still employed, can continue to be employed, but arguably thousands and thousands more can get employment over the next year, year and a half. So I'll continue to mark progress on this, but this was the biggest announcement of the week from my perspective that came from Washington, D.C., on top of what already was a pretty good week. Just briefly, a couple other things. I want to thank Supervisor Dufty for introducing legislation to provide upwards of $6+ million to the school district to offset some of these state cuts from our rainy day reserve. This should reduce the number of teachers that are laid off. This should go a long way to addressing the concerns that many are feeling about $113 million shortfall that the school district is facing. Again, $6 million may seem like a drop in the bucket, but this will substantially make a difference, we believe, in reducing the cuts, particularly teacher cuts that otherwise would have happened had we not sent those dollars over. So thank you, Supervisor Dufty, for that contribution. Just briefly, I had a very good meeting this week with Supervisor Avalos on his commitment to calendar our job tax credit items. We're making progress on this. The good work that I believe my office has done in partnership with people like Michaela Alioto-Peer on the biotax tax credit and the tax credit that would be provided to people that are providing health care under our health care ordinance, as well as the 2-year tax exemption for all net new jobs. It's making now its way to committee. All I ask for is please keep an open mind. Does come at a cost, just like the federal commitment of the president to do a $5,000 new jobs tax credit. Our local tax credit obviously comes at a cost, but the cost is negligible compared to the return on that investment in terms of job creation and job growth. We have high unemployment, continue to in this city, but particularly hard hit African American community and the Latino community. Areas like Bayview, Hunters Point, and Western Addition, the Mission, and the Excelsior have disproportionate unemployment rates. The beneficiary of our Jobs Now program is disproportionately being felt in those communities. I believe the same will be told in the context of our job tax credits in those same diverse communities. Let's at least keep an open mind and give these initiatives an opportunity. And I want to thank Supervisor Avalos for his willingness to do that. And I look forward to a very comprehensive discussion on the topic. Two very brief things. Sydney, Australia, is a sister city of San Francisco. Hats off to Sydney. I don't think anyone knows this. Harmony Park in Sydney is going to now be called San Francisco Place, or a portion of Harmony Park. The mayor just sent me a letter saying on February 16th they will be inaugurating, because of the friendship between our two cities, a portion of Harmony Park. So hats off to our friends out in Australia and Sydney for that very kind expression of friendship through our sister city relationships. And finally, I want to thank everyone for tweeting me. I get a lot of tweets. I think there's about 1.3, almost 1.4 million people that can go back and forth on my Twitter account. I read them, not all of them. By the way, I got 750 when we advanced our first in the nation open source strategy. That's just over the last 10 to 12 days. I get a lot of other tweets, trust me. It's not all very positive. Some are very critical. So next week, when I do this video, I want to start answering some of your tweets. So I want to encourage you to send them in. And I also want to encourage people not just to send all of the negative Muni tweets to me directly. I got it. I read them. And we're working hard to try to address all of your concerns. And I've been negotiating this week with TWU, the union representing the transit drivers, to try to work to help fight to reduce some of these service cuts and these fare increases by offsetting some contribution from labor in order to mitigate them. We're trying to do our best under difficult circumstances, but we have a new Twitter account. It's called at SFMTA_Muni, at SFMTA_Muni. It was actually launched this week on Friday, and we hope people use that. And always remember, you can do the @311 and file your complaints as well. I'm not suggesting you don't tweet me your complaints, but we want to log them in a way that we can actually use them more effectively than me just writing them down and trying to send them over to Muni, and we hope you'll exercise that. So please tweet me. Please keep emailing me. I'm happy to answer any questions in these weekly videos. But again, I think a very positive week in the jobs front, positive week on the transportation front. A lot of challenges with our budget ahead, but a lot of very good things that happen. And one final quick point, hats off. It's Black History Month in San Francisco. And Supervisor Sophie Maxwell and I kicked off Black History Month this week on Friday, and we want to make sure that people know that we are committed to addressing the unique needs of the African American community, and we'll be launching a specific strategy, an implementation plan of a task force that we formed a couple of years ago that is a very exciting framework to address some of the concerns the African American community has on education and healthcare, environmental justice, economic development, and the like. Have a great week, everybody.